Yeah, I know, right? Hey, what is up, everyone? It is Rich and Kelsey. We are back. Guess who's back? Kelsey's back.
Now
Rich
that the
is
show started, I'm gonna clam up. I got stage fright.
right. I know. It's been so long. This is like our first gig back on the road.
I need nicotine. That might help me relax a little bit.
You're doing nicotine. I'm on Viagra and meth.
Yeah, that's every the artist cocktail.
Right. Hold on. I don't even know what I'm doing. Okay,
So
I'm going to my
keeps you at the table for 15 hours a day.
Right. Apparently we're live on YouTube. That's what my iPad says. What is up, everyone? We've got Powell. We've got Christian. We've got Michael, Hunter, DPLA. We've got James, Leg Kick, and Buddy. And I'm sure there's more. Thousands more. Everyone in.
Yeah, man, it's been a while. I wanted to do this last week, but it just didn't seem like it just wouldn't play out. You know, like, I don't know. I still had some, when you're coming off of like or at least me, I don't know about anybody else, but like when I'm coming out of like a deep dive into story and books and art and all that, and then I come out of it, I'm like, I barely know how to speak again. You know, like I'm having to do like sign language.
Oh, dude, I remember a long time ago, like I would be on like a tight deadline. I don't handle stress very well, to be honest. Not that I'm like admitting some big thing, but I get a lot of anxiety drawing just in general. Like it's a very, very stressful and kind of tight-ropey thing that I do. I'm getting nervous just talking about it, funny enough. But sometimes my wife would want to go to dinner when I would be on like a tight deadline. And I mean, I would tell her, I'm like, I'm really, really fucking wound up right now. Like, I'm not going to be able to relax at a dinner table. It's like, it's almost like you're running a marathon and someone stops you in the middle and says, hey, do you want to sit down and like have a breakfast with me? And you're like, dude, I'm going a 50,000 miles an hour right now.
Yeah, I can't think about breakfast, you know. Yeah.
I had a really bad panic attack one night. We went out to sushi, it was one of those random. She really wanted to go to like her favorite restaurant. I was sitting at the bar and just my head was going a million miles a minute because I'm so worried about making some ridiculous inking deadline that's all fucked up. And I was like, oh man, I didn't know if I was going to need to go outside and pull myself together or what, but
well, I mean, beyond that, you're just, I mean, even if it's not a deadline, like my deadlines are kind of soft, but I still get deep into this mindset where I'm like, I'm working out problems, you know, like I'm putting myself in the character's shoes and I'm thinking about these moments. And then you have to go to the store or go pick up a package or go whatever. And it's like, I swear I'll go do that sometimes and not even be there. I'll just be in my headspace doing the thing. All right,
No, totally. It's a very weird thing.
So somebody will ask me a bunch of questions like, you know, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And I'm like, cannot compute, you know.
Here's an interesting thing that happened to me almost immediately when I started drawing like on a regular basis. I was thinking at the time, but I at that point I hadn't really committed to a lane. I actually started immediately having problems driving. I still drive, but I don't consider myself someone that really should be behind the wheels at sometimes. I have, my eyes are so calibrated to work on something like this that I get vertigo when I drive, like the motion to the side of me, like nighttime, I can't drive good. Sorry, my camera's autofocusing on something. But you know, I would hear like, oh, like this old school artist doesn't drive, like Norman Rockwell didn't drive, or whoever it is, and it's like you
Stanley Kubrick.
Right. And it's like, I'm too caught up in all my shit. I can't exist like a normal human anymore. I really can't.
Why drive when one could be driven?
I always have to drive, though. That's the thing. But yeah.
There's a classic story about Kubrick that was about Full Metal Jacket, where they were driving and he was driving and he had a bunch of the actors and different people in the car. And he was driving, he was pointing, and he just rolls into the ditch and they end up sideways. and they're all coming out of the car, and they said he didn't even break step. He's still talking to me. He's standing on the car on its side going, okay, now over there is going to be where we're doing. Like, it didn't even register. That's what it is. It's the same thing.
Yeah, Michael says Kirby realized he couldn't drive anymore because his head was always on the road.
I don't know, but his head was in the clouds. His head was always thinking about, his stories and stuff,
right.
So, which I totally get.
He was in the fourth world when people were trying to have him exist in the first world.
Yeah, he's trying to eat snacks and stuff, but he's on Apocalypse.
But I had said on YouTube that I was taking a few breaks. I'm right at the tail end of Crystal Planet. I think I have 4.5 pages left, and I needed to focus on it. So I'm not going to do Super Fun Sunday this Sunday. I'm not fully back, but you wanted to do this, so I was like, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, maybe it'll help. This is like I still have 5 pages of 5 pages of Nexus and like 5 pages of Nora number 4. So this might recharge the batteries.
Yeah, they always do.
Huh?
No, I said these always do.
Yeah, I mean, getting a look at some of this. I didn't know what we were going to do because it'd been a while since we'd done the animation thing, and it felt like it was time to kind of shift gears anyway. And I don't know, I was throwing out some ideas, and you were like, let's do all of them,
well, concept art. Well, I grabbed onto that when you mentioned concept art.
Well, yeah, because it's there might be even people here that aren't necessarily interested in comics per se, but interested in art. Right. And I recently I'm one of those two. I'm interested in like everything art and storytelling, and I found this guy who does classic illustrators that you may not have heard of, and from like the late 1800s to about 1950s, 60s when the photographs started taking over. And it's been amazing. There's been like I'll have to share that link, but there's been some amazing stuff.
Really good.
Well, that got me thinking about other stuff, and I was like, well, I mean, shoot, everybody's doing this, everybody's doing that. I was like, what about game art? Because there's such a history of that now, from like early Nintendo, Capcom, to now, which is like really advanced and has its own kind of permeating flavor, of this digital painted kind of thing, that everybody seems to be doing now, which I thought started with Sparth and Craig Mullins.
Right.
Those two guys really popularized it, and then it was like a weed. It took off.
Yeah, Craig Mullins, Ian McCaig.
Yeah.
Sparth.
And those are all different guys, because Sparth is very much like environment futurist, and then like Craig Mullins is like Ridley Scott visualist, but in the scribbly gook that he does, but it still has like, when you squint your eyes, it looks like some epic Ridley Scott scene, and then like who'd you say, Ian McCaig? That guy is like very like almost cartoony. Yeah,
he's great.
So anyway, what are we gonna do? Our image of the week?
I didn't grab one, but I mean, I can kind of describe what I've been into, because I think people can picture it. So for me, what I've actually been, Instagram has been very, very cool lately and been hooking me up with very cool stuff. But I've been into photography.
Oh yeah,
like really good nature photography,
like landscapes and stuff.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. But there was nothing in particular. But man, I started following like 3 or 4 people, and boy, they started recommending some great photographers.
I went through a phase not that long ago where I was obsessed with black and white photography. Like there's a couple people that have gotten really advanced with it, where they'll do these. There's this one guy. I think he's a Japanese guy, and he does still life, but from museums that do those forest things behind glass, and it's all fake.
Oh, right.
But he'll take these perfect black and white photographs of them, and you're just like, that looks so real, but off somehow, because it's not real.
Yeah, like they're miniatures.
Yeah, those are cool. Yeah,
dude, I love so much stuff. I actually love to see people that are really into like bonsai trimming.
Oh yeah, that's interesting.
It's so cool, and they build like these little like gardens and stuff with them. Oh my god, so artistic.
I love getting out in the yard. That's kind of like I remember doing a day of that not that long ago, and it was just so relaxing.
Yeah,
and I could see that very easily. Just losing yourself and just not thinking about anything but the tree. Here, I'll share.
Let me share your screen.
Let me see.
It's been a while. Do I click on?
I'm not even sure what I'm supposed to do. It says share, but it's all different now. Share video file.
Is that what it is? Is it different?
Share screen. Okay.
Share screen. Wait, hold
on. Share screen. Oh, okay. Here we go. I had mine reset because.
Okay, I think is this no.
Hold on, I'm about to share.
What is going on?
You'll see it pop.
Yeah. Okay, and then add to stream. There you go. There you go. I know who that is.
This is Don Bluth from Dragon Slayer 2. And I don't know why, but I can't get this shot out of my head. Like I've been watching it over and over and over. And I think this is very close to kind of, except for these guys are getting a little too cartoony for me. I like her a lot.
She's hard to see. Her face is completely covered up, right?
That's this pose. I love this pose because she's turning into this monster.
Yeah,
and I just love the position of it and how she's bent over and her hair is flying up. Like if I had the video, you can see.
Is that her hair?
Yeah, she's got the little.
Down. Okay, I thought it literally looked like maybe smoke was emitting from like a belt buckle, and then the person was like
to it. That's interesting. Yeah.
But I can see that it's a head, and that's like a crown or something on her head. Her head seems a little big.
Well, he's cartoony. That's why sure. Like when you see these guys, but I love this shot where he's just like, whoop,
Yeah.
But I love the bizarreness of it. The lighting, is really intense, and I don't know, it's just the shapes are just very interesting to me. I don't know, it's been like stuck in my brain.
It's cool, man.
Yeah.
I'm opening files, so if I sound like I'm drifting, I'm prepping Photoshop for our concept art onslaught.
So let's see what's we got Richard Friend in the chat. Hey Rich. Eric Glad, what's up everybody? Yeah, Space Ace, I loved I want more of Space Ace. Like Space Ace would be like if I was gonna have like a monthly comic, I read a monthly comic, it would be like Space Ghost or Space Ace. I love that kitschy, cheesy sci-fi stuff. I'm just not sure it has much of an audience, anymore. Just me.
Sorry to interrupt. This is an interesting segue that we can do for what we're going to look at today. So you described to me, I think it was the Nexus script, how challenging it had been to you because of the randomness of everything. One moment I'll keep it vague so I don't spoil your story, but like a 1940s bar, and then all of a sudden they're in the future, and then all of a sudden they're in the Old West, and then all of a sudden they're in Greece.
Which is great because it keeps it interesting, but boy, it takes a while to shift gears from one set to another. Yeah.
So that's kind of how the first issue of Crystal Planet was. It was 5 pages of sci-fi, and then it was 3 pages of other stuff, and then it was 4 pages of this. And like it was funny because I just had a flashback to the sci-fi stuff, and I'm like, I haven't done this in weeks. Like I don't even remember. I'm trying to remember the costume designs that I made, and I don't even.
So you're going in order.
I am going in order. So this is some interesting observations that I can make about drawing that I never realized. 20 years in the business as an inker, working around all these people. Part of the reason that I believe some pencilers are quote unquote slow is you have a lot to think about. And sometimes you just don't want to draw because you can't picture what you want to draw. You know, or there's a challenge on a page that repels you. You go, I don't know how I'm going to draw panel 6, even if you have it laid out. Like for me, I have to do these like futuristic tanks. I don't have a futuristic tank design really, so I have to kind of make it up, and I don't have it memorized when I draw it, and so all of a sudden, it's so much to juggle. It is incredible.
I remember doing this thing on Twitter or Facebook years ago where I was kind of poking fun at the different sections, different parts of comics. And I was like, you know, when a writer wakes up in the morning, walks out on his porch with his notepad and his cup of coffee, writes a story, you know, a comic book artist still up from the night before on his 5th pot of coffee, trying to get that last page in that like writer wrote.
It's like the classic. It's like 50 guys walk into a bar and they all have a fight. Half of them are wearing cowboy hats. The other half are, you know, whatever. And it's like, you know, it's a one sentence to write, and it's like a nightmare to orchestrate.
Oh my God. Cause you got like one of the scenes in, you know, it's futuristic Western town on an alien planet, so it has to have that old West town feel, but rustic, kind of futuristic flavor. And then the characters are a mix of human, alien races that we already know in Nexus, but kind of cowboyed out, and you know, and it's a bar, so the bar has to have that look, but a little alien. You know, so you have to work all of this out and put it all in this scenario establishing shot and have room for a bunch of giant dialogue balloons. So
I'm going to say right now,
and 6 other panels.
Pencilers are underpaid.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, this is the real reason why a comic book artist want to write their own stuff, is so that they can write less of things to do in one panel. I think, I don't know.
Well, I had said I was going to plug the David Finch interview. It's funny because I'm wearing the Buckethead shirt, which is just a random coincidence. But
that was great.
Thanks. The Finch interview, I said, with Blaster Kid, you know, I can write whatever I want. If I don't want to draw something, I don't write it. Just to be clear,
you write to your strengths.
That sounded weird. There has never been anything that I've written for Blaster Kid that I've avoided. The story always came first, and I'll figure out how to draw whatever goes into that book. So I didn't want it to sound like, oh, well, he's creating Blaster Kid around like his strengths and weaknesses. My main point being is visually, I can do what I want in Blaster Kid, whereas with a book like Crystal Planet, although they're giving me a ton of freedom, I kind of understand that it's like, you know, they don't want J. Lee Namor art. They're looking for something that's a little more sort of universally appealing.
Yeah, you have the freedom to kind of go your own route when you're writing it yourself, you're publishing it yourself. You can like indulge those things that have been on your mind for so long, you know.
Well, and that's exactly the point. Is I've been visualizing Blaster Kid for like 10 years. It's not like you know, I get a phone call and all of a sudden it's like, well, I'm working with Joe Satriani. And it was funny because in the interview, I couldn't actually say what it was, but you know what I mean?
Because it was before. Yeah, it was an earlier.
So, I mean, Joe has a certain aesthetic that they want to capture, but honestly, I've had almost no bounce back on anything that I've designed for the book. But at the same time, I've never designed a comic book universe for someone else. That's a lot.
Yeah, but you know, you got it in you. It's just a matter of like, getting the vision in your head at least close enough to what's coming out of your hand. You know, like, or you know what I mean. Reverse that. Get your hand to put whatever's in your head, and like the more you do, the easier that gets.
Right.
Like, so now, I don't even really think about the technical part of it. It's generally just how do I properly establish these things, you know, so that you can read it without thinking about it. You fly through it, you know.
I've really been trying to help my patrons with that and explain to them, because there's a lot of misconceptions that I had about drawing comic books. And again, I'm someone who was right there. I was watching Jim Lee draw pages. I was watching Travis draw pages. I shared an office with J. Scott Campbell for like 3 years. Adam Hughes. I had no idea what those guys went through, honestly. As much as I thought I did, I didn't.
You know, a great just a little plug for Jim Lee on the VZA or RZA. What is that channel?
I think it's VZA.
VZA. He just did, and he probably did it on his own Twitch stream and stuff. But he did an unboxing of the Jim Lee, which I got. I just pre-ordered. It's coming out the end of this month. It's the only book I'm buying this month.
Good for you.
He goes through it
this year.
Huh? No, this year. I'm not. Yeah, this year, I'm not buying any other giant things. That's I got enough stuff. But that's one of that early X-Men stuff of his is one of the reasons I'm interested in comics at all. So I'm like, okay, here's the definitive collection of the what is those books called? The artist editions. See the whiteout on it and stuff.
Right.
Well, anyway, he goes over it in the video. He talks about one of my favorite issues, and I knew that it was him, Will Portasio, and Scott Williams all kind of just jamming on that one issue, and it's my favorite issue. I think it's the coolest one. And he goes and he talks about it. He's like, "That's my plane." He's like, "Anything with markers is mine." That right there, and then that's Wils's face with my inking, and and then later he's like, "Archie Bear did some of this, and I inked this panel," and it's like, and I didn't realize how much. It wasn't just him. It was everybody around him. Anybody he can get to help, which is great.
Well, and Jim would do that at Wildstorm occasionally. He was, man, Jim is a very spontaneous guy. And we've done some crazy shit where it's just like, he'll take some oddball job. This only happened once. I don't want to make it sound like it's a common occurrence, but he had to draw some Robotech story, and he just all of a sudden it was completely late and it was all fucked up, and he basically just went like, "We're gonna draw this book in like 5 hours and get the whole thing done."
Yeah, get Richard Bennett in here. Where is he?
We all went for it. It was so funny. It was like 7 or 8 of us, and we literally fucking just pounded out this like 8-page story where it was like you're gonna do layouts. You're going to draw the characters. You're doing the backgrounds. Sandra, you're going to ink this. Rich, you're going to ink this. And man, we just went.
See, that seems to be one of his real strengths. His real strengths. I remember tales, and you were probably there for this, but I remember tales of him having this round desk.
Yeah, he does.
Like TVs up, and parts of it would move.
A lot of this stuff, the design of Wildstorm was very influenced by either Star Wars or Star Trek. And so there was a lot of that like kind of going on. But yeah, his desk looked almost like a moon. Like you wouldn't notice it because there was stuff on it. But yeah, it was a curved desk.
That's no moon. That's Jim Lee's desk.
He had a beautiful office. I mean, Jim is an amazing guy. It bothers me sometimes that people there's this group of people out there that are very critical of Jim, the last like year or two because of
he's gone all business, but whatever.
But
he's always been that way. He's very much like I remember stories about him selling original art, and like they would compete with that, like McFarlane, Liefeld, Jim Lee. And so he was always like the quiet one and like the one that, but he was very business minded. And just the idea that like he would, like you were saying, grab everyone to finish the book. That's not an artist kind of mindset. That's a business mindset. Let's just finish this, crank it out.
The other thing that I'll say about Jim for people that don't actually know him personally, and I'm saying this honest to God, he genuinely gives a fuck about people. And there's a lot of people that you meet in this world that do not. He actually really cares for people, and he's just spread incredibly thin. But dude, he stepped up so hard when I was just a scrub inker. He had literally no reason to help me at all. And he had me come over to his house at like 10 o'clock at night and help me lay out like a trading card that I was doing. And I mean, it was like we were on. He didn't even know me at Wildstorm barely, because it's like at that point Wildstorm was maybe 60 to 75 people, so there was a lot of people. I mean, the assumption is that like even for me, I knew everyone there. I worked at Wildstorm for 16 years. I do not know Brett Booth.
Yeah. Well, look at
times.
Look at how look at the people that surround him. Like, for instance, like it's the same group of guys that, in a lot of cases, the very core group, you know, Scott Williams, Alex Sinclair, you know, there's just a little group. They've always been together. And like, that's the loyalty.
He's the loyalist person.
Extreme loyalty. I haven't seen any other people do that to that degree, except for maybe Frank Alan Davis and Mark Farmer, you know.
Dude, my pitch after I inked Travis to almost every penciler I ever worked with is, this combination works. If you stick with me and we take this shit as far as we can do it, it's already a proven success story. I could never get anyone on board for that. And look at how many, I mean, I'm not going to point at pencilers, but I'm just going to say most pencilers have gone through quite a few inkers. And then ultimately a lot of them end up inking themselves. And you hear a lot of bounce back from that. Yes, the pieces are being inked. Are they being inked to the level of a professional inker like a Danny Mickey or a Bat or a Scott Williams or Alex Garner when Alex Garner was inking? No, they're not. They're inked.
Yeah, I find like my inking really blows now. I mean, I used to be one of the super fine brush inkers, you know, like everything was perfect. My feathering was like exact, and I'd spend a lot of time on it. But now I'm too not nervous, but I got too much energy going in one direction. So I'm like, it's when I'm inking, it's real sloppy, but there's a life in it that that I'm after, where it seems like when I do it finely tuned and all that, it sucks a little bit of that life out of it.
Right.
And I'm trying to retain the kind of energy from the initial sketch, which I'm hearing. I saw a couple videos over the week of several people talking about that, where even like old schoolers, like from that guy that I was telling you about that was doing the classic illustrators, and he was recalling several of those guys from like the 1800s having issues with losing life in the finishes, you know, and that's been one of my biggest issues. So that's one of the reasons I went to digital in the first place, is to try to draw it once, basically, you know, like you know, whereas I'm doing it with pencil, you're refining it with each one, and I'm like, I just want one level of finish, you know. But I don't know, it's a chase. It's the thing I'm chasing, you know. I don't know, a lot of us are chasing.
Well, like for me on Crystal Planet, as a for instance, it's like the script is dictating the style to me, honestly. Like that was the biggest decider on like kind of how I was going to approach it. As I drew more, I kind of was like, okay, this fits this world, this does this. But there's really no rendering in it. So for people that like a lot of like rendering and the stuff that I do that's more detailed, it really isn't. It isn't in Crystal Planet, but like Blaster Kid to me is just, it's a different vibe, and just you know, it is what it is. It's like sometimes you have to decide kind of per project. But look, the reality is you're doubling your workload when you pencil and ink yourself. I mean, regardless of like, oh, well, you don't have to pencil as tight. I mean,
this is actually a great segue into one of our subjects that one of the ideas I threw out was about finishing and about the different ways in which you can. And traditionally, a guy like Jim Lee, for example, we were talking, he has the one finish, you know, he has his style, he has the inker, he has the colorist, and he's after one look, a Jim Lee look, you know. And guys like you and I think it's more and more these days, because we have so much advantage when it comes to technique based on technology. You know, now I'm able to basically finish in whatever style I could possibly imagine, to the level of my skill. So then it becomes, well, what's appropriate for the story?
Sure.
You know, can I do something more cartoony here, but something more realistic over here?
Right.
You know? But then you're losing you may gain some fans that like that style, but they don't like that style. Then it becomes a little more complicated. So, you know what?
My inking, but I feel inking was like that for me, where it was like you're putting out art into the world, although it's collaborative art, but it's like I don't pencil like Ryan Benjamin. It doesn't mean good or bad. It's like he draws his way, and when I was inking Ryan Benjamin, that was the way that my art was perceived for those 3 years that we worked together. If you were a fan of Chris Bachalo, then that might have been your favorite period of my stuff.
That's my favorite stuff.
Right, and Chris. Right, like, and if you're only a David Finch fan, then you might only like my David Finch work. And then the thing is all of a sudden, then I pop up and I'm like, hey, I'm doing Crystal Planet, and people are like going like, what's Crystal Planet? I thought you were doing Blaster Kid, and it's like, oh no, well, Crystal Planet's this and Blaster Kid's this. It's like,
yeah.
It'll be confusing for people, but I think when they visually see it, they won't confuse the two.
So, what do you think? Do you think the style that you? Well, I'm sure since you're really just getting going with doing your own thing, it may evolve several times. But
for sure.
Do you think after having tackled the Crystal Planet job and then wanting, having the whole time really wanting to try this other style that's not appropriate for Crystal Planet,
right?
Do you think you'll try that again to switch gears into another style so soon, or do you think you might ride this?
Crystal Planet is affording me the opportunity to be a superhero comic book artist, really, which was the thing that I was the worst at, funny enough.
That's a great warm up for sure.
well, the thing is Blaster Kid to me really isn't like a superhero comic. It's like an illustrated sequential story. I don't know. It's just a different thing. Like this was how it was funny because I was thinking if we had this conversation, I would describe it. Okay, so if you take cartoony art up to very realistic illustration, okay, and that's the parameters. You have Doonesbury and Garfield up to Norman Rockwell or whatever your Rembrandt. Right. So the thing is I'm good at cartooning, but I'm good at cartooning more in like the Peanuts, Dr. Seuss, stuff that's really out there. Like I can do that really good, and I've always been able to draw that stuff well. I can also do illustration really well. So I have these two things that are really kind of polar opposites that I can do. And then I have my inking skill set, which is another sort of part of the grid where I didn't have strong skills was like being an animator where your stuff is consistent. Like if you had to draw Pocahontas 50 times, she's going to stay on model. And then with comic books, to me, it's like a little bit more of a higher level of that, where it's like, it's the same idea, but if you're drawing Gambit needs to look like Gambit 100 times in the comic book. And I was just terrible at that.
Yeah, I was too for a long time. And it's really only probably in the last 5 to 10, I'm saying 5 years, where I've started getting consistent, and that's also, I probably no coincidence that I've also been more prolific in the last 5 years. I've done more work in the last 5 years than I probably have in the last 20. So my level is increasing a lot faster because I'm doing more work. And so I'm getting to recognize what works and what doesn't work at a much faster pace, and there's no time. This is why I think the monthly grind can do two things. You can go Travis's way, which he escalated very quickly, boom, and he wasn't necessarily monthly, but he was still on that grind.
I can actually explain a little bit of what I think happened with Travis is someone that knows him and understands his personality. I think a tiny bit, maybe because it's relatable to me. Yeah. He's like me, where there's a perfectionist quality in him. And I think probably when he was drawing the early stuff, it's like you're so dissatisfied with it that you're either going to completely fail at it or you're going to get better because it drives you crazy not seeing the stuff look good. And so I think that explains the breaks. it was him trying to figure out in his mind,
right.
how do I draw this better? How do I get better at this? And that's why you see such a fast evolution of his stuff. Is he had to have it look good or he wasn't going to do it.
Well, then you got guys like Alan Davis, going back to him, and Jim Lee, where they basically just refine.
Yeah.
Every issue is this
right.
evolution, this flow to where they are now, and it's still going. I see Alan Davis kind of slowing down, but the guy's like 70 years old or something, right? I mean, he's old dude, but he's still amazing at this level. I mean,
well, and you like, if you look at the evolution of styles for Travis too, I think it's interesting. Is just because of the fact that you could literally see it was like. I could describe it as a singer too. This is a really, really good example of a vocalist. So Lane Staley on the first Alice in Chains album did very, very complicated vocal lines to sing, not on an album, but to tour with. When they recorded their second album, he recorded a vocal album that was going to be able to go on the road. Travis never created the version of his album that can go on the road. He just kept trying to figure out how to get better, and it was like, okay, this style isn't like he tried to simplify his stuff, and that didn't look good enough to him. So then he tried this, and that didn't look good enough to him. But that's what I think all those little sort of left turn, right turns, or him trying to figure out working within a structure, and also satisfying his own critical eye.
That's interesting, because just drawing from my own experience, like I'm finding that I'm putting that detail in other places, like whereas his eye led him to do more. He's more of an illustrator,
right?
Really, and I like putting a lot of that energy into acting, characters. So my art's a lot more simplistic, but it's the technique, on the other hand, is complex. It's complex in its technique, whereas his is complex in its illustrative qualities, but not so much in the storytelling. But that's where, I mean, he'd probably be happier just doing like amazing sci-fi illustrations that you can like put on the wall. Like, I don't know if we should bring back the age of illustrations, but only for sci-fi fantasy art, not fruit. Like I want to have, cool, Travis on my wall of whatever he wants to do. Space guys. Oh man.
Well, I remember him saying one time to me that he wished that he could just draw whatever he wanted and not really have to worry about making a living and stuff like that. I get it. The one thing that I've noticed with him though is that if left to his own devices, he still tends to draw comic book related stuff. Like if all of a sudden a sketch pops up or something like that from him, most of the time it is something comic book related. So clearly that is his passion, is comic book and those kind of characters. It could be sci-fi, but you know what I mean? Very rarely do you see him just like go like, I wanted to do a landscape painting or some sort of, fine art thing, portrait or something.
This system that's coming into play is so perfect for him, because what allowed those great illustrators of the day to do what they did was having patrons, is having a rich dude put you up in his castle.
I think that's what he said, actually. He said that he wished that he had a rich person that would pay him to draw anything that he wanted, and he could keep the original art.
Well, how about 100 patrons on Patreon?
Sure.
Like all paying to watch him do Space Girl once a week. I mean, or explore some new thing he wants to do. I mean, that's the modern time, is a collective patronage of people that are interested. I'm interested in that. I would probably pay $5 a month to sneak in there. I did that with Ed Piskor, walked in there. So I wanted to see what he was up to, how he was communicating with the fans, how, He's very organized, very organized. Not everybody's going to be that way. I don't think Travis will be that way, but
sure.
if he just stuck to it, he could do whatever he wants, and people would pay him for it now. You know,
I always look at it like this. He has so much talent that really, if he decides to turn on the jets and really like maybe hop back on Space Girl, if all of a sudden he gets it in his ear that he wants to do Space Girl, there's no doubt in my mind that the guy is a monster artist. He could do whatever he wants. So I would never ever count him out if people do, you know.
Well, no, I'm not counting these guys out, but I'm often wondering, like Adam Hughes, you know, he's become way more active lately in storytelling and stuff like that. But I remember this, he almost got a gig as a Playboy illustrator, and I'm like, that's where he's going to go, and he's going to disappear forever, and he'll rise to one of the great illustrators of all time. But he fucked that up. He lost, and I'm like, oh man, you know, there's a branch into another dimension where that worked, and he became like a Vargas or a legendary illustrator of.
Frank Cho crushes it. It's interesting because for a long time I really wasn't that into Frank Cho stuff, but as I've gotten kind of maybe a little bit older, I appreciate it more. And it's not so much the content, because I'm fans of pretty much anything that he's probably influenced by, but it was like I don't know, it didn't really connect with me, but I actually really appreciate him standing up for himself too. That actually won me a lot of points, because he doesn't back down from you know, like social pressure in terms of like the content that he's producing as an artist.
Who is this?
Frank Cho.
Oh yeah. He's got his thing. I mean, you can't. It's like I don't know. There's tests for this, personality tests. Like when you're drawing things, you can tell very quickly what people like. You know, like because you know, Frank Cho likes boobies, man. He likes women. Right. If you ever meet him, he's very gregarious, and like he is his art. I mean, you could just see his personality in there. I don't know. Maybe is that the same way with Travis? Is he very controlled and?
No, Travis is actually. It's funny because he started playing guitar, and I was going to actually shoot him a note and see how it was going for him. But he's a real nice guy. He reminds me a lot of some of my friends growing up. I mean, I was like, I walked a weird line between being like a super nerd and then hanging out with like kind of like the
same here.
The skateboarders and band guys and stuff like that. So I kind of I sort of existed in two worlds. But no, I mean, a lot of my friends growing up were like real high IQ kind of outcasts, you know. And I'm not saying that he's an outcast by any means, but you know, he likes to, you know, he's got the stuff that he's into, and he sort of focuses on that mainly, you know. I think he loves his family and just wants to enjoy, you know, that. I don't know. I mean, I'm only guessing.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I got I don't know. I got shit to do. So like, I can't imagine just like I do want to like sit around. Like I just want to play Minecraft like all day. That's all I want to do. I'm like obsessed with that game all of a sudden.
I got my daughter we have a PS4, which is not any cutting edge thing, but
that's why
I've bought Minecraft so many freaking times. I think I've bought it like 5 or 6 times because I've bought at least 2 accounts for the computer. I have it on PlayStation 3, a laptop that I couldn't log into it with. They've gotten my money multiple times. Minecraft is awesome.
I want to get into woodworking. Like there's several things I want to build for, you know, I want to work on a garden, you know, I want to there's a lot of things I want to do, house maintenance, you know, like I love that kind of stuff, building, but man, there's no you can't do both. So it's almost like I have to do like a 6-month run of like a book and then take like a few months off, you know, to do other stuff, because man, if I go to the store, it's hard to come back and have the energy and get into that mindset, you know. And then vice versa. If you do the art first, you're just mentally exhausted and you don't want to go to the store after that. So it's I don't know. You almost have to do it like a firefighter, you know, 3 weeks on, 3 weeks off, that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, I'm like, so the last thing I'm going to say about Crystal Planet for people that are on the fence of like if they want to get it or not, I would say definitely get it. One reason is it's not going to probably sell, 50,000 copies. It's going to be a very scarce comic in the future. Heavy Metal may reprint it, but the original like floppy versions of it, and I'm telling you, just based on my personality, by the time I finish Crystal Planet, the 150 pages, look, I mean, based on my inking career and anything that I've ever done with art, I get good at stuff quick. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's just I've always been able to draw well. I'm always able to figure it out. And if something pisses me off and it doesn't look good, I will go down swinging like a motherfucker to get it good. So it's like, dude, I'm telling you, the beginning of Crystal Planet to the end will be, it's going to be insane. I can almost guarantee that the evolution on that book will be ridiculous. So check it out. You can see me suck, and then you can see me fucking bring it.
Well, the thing about comics is that you're, and I guess any art really, but whatever, at least for the people trying like us, whatever is coming out,
struggle.
Whatever you're working on now is done to the best of your ability at that point. So. Yeah. The next book is going to be that much better because you're just, and you're going to be looking back at that going, but right, you gotta rest assured that right now, whatever I'm working on is done at least to the best of my ability and the time given.
Yeah.
And it's a very high level, that kind of thing. But
your pages look great, dude. I've seen them; they're really good.
Thanks. But I'm ready to I'm ready to move to the next one, especially when you get towards the end. It's going to be really interesting when you get towards the end of like Crystal Planet and you're like feeling that, I'm almost there. I'm almost ready to go into,
well, the first issue is almost done. Like I said, I've got 4.5 pages left, and I'm actually very proud of what I did on the book. The thing that's actually starting to get in the way now, which I'm going to shut it down, is when I got into the like more normal pages where it was real world stuff, I started drawing them in Clip Studio. And the only reason was I was so picky about how stuff looked that I knew that if I wanted to move, a chair or a table or something, even a tiny bit, it was going to drive me nuts that I couldn't do it on the paper. But once I start issue 2, I'm going back to traditional because it actually is holding me back in terms of what I can do. But Clip Studio saved my ass. I mean, I have to say that without Clip Studio, I don't know if I would have ever been able to finish the first book because it was so hard to draw and there was so much stuff that not only was I not good at, but was stuff that I never in a million years thought I would have to draw. A cocktail party, people talking at podiums. I mean, someone going to their apartment, riding on a bus. It was like, I was like, oh my God, what am I doing?
Here, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you something here. Let me open it up. This is why I do do your resizing and stuff in your layout.
Right.
Your layout becomes the new pencils.
I get so finicky about stuff though as I start to finish it. Like I start to see the blacks going in and stuff like that, and all of a sudden I go, oh, there's this nice kind of design thing happening here. If I just move this head over, a 1/4 of an inch and blow it up a little bit, it fills that panel like a little more nice.
Yeah, exactly. If you can do that in your layouts, and then you basically just
issue 2 will be sort of like where I get like I'm not scared to draw the book anymore. For 2 months I was terrified every day when I would sit down and draw. I'm not scared anymore, so that's a good feeling. Is I don't sit down terrified.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm terrified about getting it done.
Right.
Like the time frame that I have.
Okay, let me add the stream. Oh, this is gonna be cool.
Ooh. Yeah. Okay, so these are like my layouts. I do like basically the whole thing, and I even like put the dialogue in there, so that and like this one's real rough, but it had the proper scale. I even like this guy's face. It's like if I can just capture that in the final, I'll be fine. And I did for the most part. Keep a lot of this, but I mostly have after scale Like I'm not worried about doing these trees. That's something I could do on the final. That's not a big deal. But having
Right.
their scale be correct is more
Sure.
important at this stage, so I don't have to redo that stuff later.
Oh man, those are so good.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. But especially with the words, I started putting that in because I was tired of having word balloons cover stuff. And I was also tired of when I have an empty space, I'll fill up the entire space. And I know I was looking at other artists and seeing how they'll use negative space and they'll have like more breathing room in a panel and they're drawing smaller. And I love that look, and that's where they're making a lot of room for the word balloons. And I'm like, okay, I need to start thinking more along those lines.
It's go back to the page that you were just looking at. It's funny because that one right there, the top left panel reminds me very much of almost like Walter Foster, like Prince Valiant style, the way that the layout is. But then it's funny is you get so into the animation style as you move through it. It's a nice blend of the two.
Yeah, I can't help but I'm leaning more towards what I would consider like cartoony realism,
Right.
where my characters have like here I'll show one thing. Hold on. Where like in manga and anime, when they go to extreme emotions, they're not afraid to go cartoony.
Right.
And I kind of like some of that, but I'll see if this works with you guys. Where I'll do that a little bit.
What's funny is I didn't realize that you had put your name as Chickadee China, the Chinese chicken, until like about.
What song was that from? Do you know?
Beastie Boys, right? And
Maybe.
your brain starts ticking.
Chickadee Chinese, the Chinese chicken. I can't remember the song.
Your brain starts ticking. I'm pretty sure it's Beastie Boys. It's Hey Ladies, right?
It's the first thing that popped into my head when I was.
I'm so good. I'm pretty sure it's Hey Ladies.
All right, here's this is the finished inks of page 1.
Oh yeah, sorry. Here, let's add this. Kelsey is so good. Whoa.
So let me zoom out.
Ladies?
Bare Naked Ladies. Yeah. Man,
I was way off. Okay, I get an F. I get an F for today.
So like they're far away, so I don't have to show like a lot of their details. Plus, it's real foggy. So like I was able to be real loose with the background, and then color will really kind of bring this together.
Right, Zane.
But I get a little more cartoony here because she's being all pouty, and it's
right.
And this is kind of a lighter moment where she's feeling sorry for herself, and I hate people. She's annoying, so it's like I don't mind being kind of cartoony with this bit.
Sure.
And then she lashes out here, and I'm like, I don't know if I push this too far or if it works or not. Where she's like, maybe her mouth's too big.
A little bit of manga influence.
Yeah, but I still gotta hear back from my editors to make sure I'm like not. But what do you guys think? Have I gone too far with it? What do you think?
I think colored it'll look good. The one the upshot, the second panel, her face looks a little tiny bit long for an upshot like that. It would start to foreshorten if you just move make her mouth.
It's hard to do that. It's something I've trying to master a lot. I wonder if I can do this right now. Hang on. Let's try it right now. Let's do some
all you need to do is just transform it up a little bit and then just kind of fix this is the stuff that I'm talking about though. Like I'll draw faces where it's like a little long and just like being able to just sort of squeeze it a little bit is so nice.
Yeah, like doing let's see. If we're able to probably bring that mouth up, but
that's what I was thinking is because with her head,
but your jaw it'd be like more here, right?
Yeah, and her mouth would be up a little bit more.
Yeah,
just a tiny bit. It's dropped below the like the bottom of the nose a little too much.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, her nose is up a little too high too, but let's see, this is what's great about digital. You can
exactly
quickly grab this stuff.
See, and that looks way better. It already looks it's like it's heading the right direction for sure. That looks good.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, where's my?
If you go back, you'll see what I mean. It was just a little long in the face. I do it all the time. I'm telling you, that's something that I definitely have to keep an eye on. Is I tend to There's like I do it with heads and I do it with torsos. I tend to draw from the waist to the collarbones too long.
All right, look at that back and forth. She looks like she's going, ooh.
Yeah. I like the fix better.
Ooh.
I do like the fix better. It's up to you.
Yeah, no, I do too. That's one of those things I'm always like messing with is that damn jaw. And there's some people that can do that where they're looking up and they just have the flat. And their head's actually like a square kind of, you know, and it's really hard to like master that stuff.
So Zaid Comics just did a super chat. Thank you, Zaid. He says, "Great to see Kelsey back. Thanks for the cover that you did for Magic Cop. We got to see. Did the Lost Pages book arrive yet to your post office box?"
Oh yeah, Lost Pages. Yeah, that's great. That has like this really cool Simon Beasley poster with it. It's awesome. I'll have to like drag that out. Let's see if I got the Magic Cop. Have you shown that piece? Can I show that?
Zaid, can he show that piece? Let us know in the comments section if it's okay for him to show it. And you can plug. If you want to plug your book, please, by all means, go ahead.
Yeah, this is a fun piece. This is like the territory I'd like to go. It's a little more of my cartoony stuff, a little more color.
Yes, go ahead and show it.
All right, here we go.
And Zaid, is your book on Indiegogo? If you have a link, go ahead and post it in the comments section. I don't know if it'll work, but you're more than welcome to. If anyone wants to plug their stuff, go for it.
All right, here's Magic Cop.
Okay, I'm adding it to the stream. Ooh, look at that. I think I feel like you showed me maybe this before it was done a little bit. But
yeah, maybe. Yeah, this is one I did by hand, but then I like obsessively tweaked it in post.
like let me ask you about that, because that's an interesting thing. Is so because I'm hyper picky about the stuff that I do. If I were to work traditionally on the second issue of Crystal Planet, how have you found the workflow if you're trying to nudge stuff around after the fact digitally? Does that is it super time consuming, or can you kind of get in and out quickly?
No, I change whole, like, you know, I don't know. I can get pretty close to when you scan in your artwork and you tighten it up and get it ready, it ends up rastering it anyway. So right. unless you keep the grayscale at the end. So depending on what you're doing, if you're going to go straight raster, you can use like pencil tools, and when you draw, you can pretty much approximate exactly. Like you can't tell what's hand drawn and what's like
sure.
drawn. But yeah. if you're having gray, then you're going to have to use your brush that has like some fade at the end. But you know, I was going for something a little more traditional line wise in this, so it was fine to do it straight black. But I think like I don't remember what I did. I think maybe this hand I redid. I don't know.
Right.
Honestly, I can't even tell.
Because like I'm really kind of anxious to get back to just working traditionally, but yeah. I'm telling you, I remember exactly what happened was I had 5 pages of layouts done, and I was starting to get into like, you know, the character gets on the bus and he drives home on the bus and he's talking to a lady on the bus and he goes into his apartment. And so I had all the layouts, and I went to my copy place and I blew them up 11 by 17. So I was going to light box them onto the boards. And I drew like one panel, and it was like I was like, oh, it looks good. Like I was happy with it, but as I started moving through the rest of the page, I was like, oh man, I started doubting myself, and I was like, I don't know if I'm ready.
He can't post a link because he's not a what do you call it, monitor? What do you call this?
A moderator.
Moderator, yeah. But yeah, if you go to, what is it? It's on Indiegogo, I think.
I'll look it up right now. I can post the link.
Okay, yeah. Magic Cop 2. But yeah, these guys are fun, man. They just letting the imagination fly, and like it's great. Like this is what I love about, you know, comic book people, man.
I just posted the link for him.
All right, cool.
Let me know if that's the right one, Zaid.
I mean, look at this. This is why I draw comics. You gotta. a guy who has a skull smoking a cigar. You got a guy who looks like Don Johnson. This all looks like the 80s. You got this green hot like cop chick and a dog guy. I mean, you don't get this anywhere else. I mean,
I would play this video game. This looks like a Intellivision video game cover.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, this is what I love, and it's like, okay, well, video games, you get to play that, sure, but you only get it once. With comics, you can get it every month. This is why games and movies and all this need to have a synergistic meeting of the minds, where when Marvel started putting out those movies, I was like, this is going to be a boom, but then I went and looked at the books and they were nothing like the movies. And I'm like, They are missing a huge opportunity to create a larger combined mythos where, they can clearly come out of the movie getting that origin story and go right into books and get the continuing adventures, and if they'd have done that right. And so this is where like video games and like all this, and I think should have this quality, whether they're related or not, is that you like this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You should be able to find the comic book equivalent to it. Like I love Dead Space. If there was a comic that gave me more of that kind of thing,
the video game Dead Space?
Yeah. Like I loved it. I loved like the aliens quality of it, where it's a horror in space, and like I love that. And there was a deeper kind of story or lore to it that I don't know. When I'm playing a video game, I kind of barely pay attention to, but in a comic, when you're reading it, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. There should be like more, like Sonic the Hedgehog had a huge popular comic for years when there wasn't even any video games.
Right.
That kept it all kind of going.
Yeah.
I don't know. We should all work together. Can't we all just get along?
Okay, so are you ready to look at some concept art? I have some Doom.
Oh, now we're an hour into it. Oh my God.
I know. It's all right. We'll just go. We'll go for like 30 more minutes because I got to get to work.
Yeah, I do too. After breakfast.
I'm going to need to be a skull smoking cigarettes after this video. No, what's funny is this is I'll you can go back and watch me on camera start to squirm. Just talking about having anxiety attacks gave me an anxiety attack, and I had to fight it off. Like the first 10 minutes of the video, I was freaking out. It's embarrassing to admit, but we're all friends here, so I'll say it. But yeah, if you watch, I was like, when we were done talking about it, I started really getting freaked out. It was very weird.
I get anxiety about paying bills, and then that comes with finishing work, and that, you know what I mean? So my anxiety doesn't really come from the work. It comes from the result of not doing the work. So
I'm a very sensitive person. All right, so let's get into this.
Who are you starting with?
It's Doom. Doom.
The video game?
Yeah. Hold on. It's good shit.
I remember. Is this like the new Doom stuff?
This is from 2020. So I'm going to go full screen mode, and then you can watch the chat. Or I actually have the chat open. So this will be a lot of different stuff. I don't really know exactly what we're going to see, but it should be fun. So this looks like a ZBrush model of one of the bad guys. But how do you consume concept art, Kelsey, as a comic book artist? You just look at it as a passive viewer, or do you analyze stuff and break down the design?
Yeah.
Don't lie.
It's lie about this.
I'm just kidding.
It just depends. Like for this, I immediately look at this and go, this has no relation to anything that I'm absorbing right now. And I'm not sure what I could take from it, except for the veins. I don't know. I'm really stuck on the veins. Those look really cool, actually. I don't know. Actually, I'm taking some of that kind of stuff. Maybe I can use that. I break it down unless it's compelling as a whole. When you're looking through not DeviantArt, but DeviantArt and ArtStation. Yeah, I tend to take it in like one go, like whatever, like all encompassing, like grabs my attention. But like this, I don't know, like
Okay, well, we'll keep going. We don't need to stick on this one. It was just the first
the
thing.
shoulder pads. I like that. Yeah.
When you go into a comic book, do you sit down and draw stuff like this to design your characters, or do you design them on the page? You design them on the page, right? Yeah. It's interesting. So many professionals just go, dude, design it on the page. And I was like, really? But I would say that's unanimously what people tell me.
Well, I get bogged down if I do too much preliminary design work.
Right.
I almost feel like I've already done the job, and I'm bored at that point. You know what I mean? Like, so it's this constant balancing act of not doing too much ahead of time. Like even those layouts, like I don't get too tight, because if I'm just tightening up the layout, it's grunt work at that point, you know. And I'm like, you know, you got to have something that keeps you going. These all look really cool. The benefit to doing it ahead of time, though, is working out these kinks.
Right.
But the reason why these guys do so many iterations is because they're trying to meet some quotient in the actual director's head, you know. And they're like, no, do it again. Oh, Jesus. That would drive me insane. That would drive me absolutely insane. But you do end up with a really sweet final product. Look at that. I mean,
yeah. Well, the point for me is to try to give people advice as comic book artists in terms of when we look at a book like The Art of Doom, or we look at The Art of World of Warcraft, or we go to ArtStation, how can we incorporate maybe some of these ideas, whether it's literal design ideas or the workflow that they do. Obviously, a video game is almost
you got to be careful with this stuff, though, because if you were like, I would love to do a comic like this, but it would take a year. It would take like a damn year to get this done, and there's just not enough money for that. Plus, it just depends on what you're going for. If you're going to just do like that's more of like art book. There's a certain level of comic that I think there's a line that should not be crossed. Not that it shouldn't, not like a hard rule, but no, I get it. Like this, I think this is a great level for comics.
Okay.
Because you're trying to get the story across over the course of 22 to 64 pages.
Right.
You know, and you don't want to blow your wad on every page. It's hard to describe. There's people better with words at it that could do this. But like this level would be great for comics. Like this would be a lot of work. It would take a lot of time because of the design level. This is why in animation you don't see these kinds of designs in hand-drawn animation.
Right.
Because it's impossible to do over the course of 60,000 frames, you know, or whatever it is, 100,000 frames.
These are a little more simple.
Yeah, these are great. But like, you know, they're doing CG work, so they can really get as complicated as your mind could possibly imagine, you know.
Sure.
And these are fantastic. I mean, these are great designs.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm having to populate a world full of like demons and weird creatures and stuff. So this is actually kind of fun to see the variety of ideas. I like the halo head thing there. That's really cool.
I like that.
His body looks like a face too. The way he's got the holes under the arms.
Yeah. Very cool. A lot of this stuff reminds me of Carlos Dianda. Carlos out tons of this stuff. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, if you could do this fast, like if you ever looked at Jim Lee's like early sketches, they're just these really fast marker renderings.
Yeah.
That have nothing to it except for the design. You know, like if you, you know, I can't help myself from going to town though, so like I have to just do it on the page.
That a lot of these characters don't have arms.
Maybe that's some directive of the story. Yeah. This all looks like Guillermo del Toro really did a number on the design community, I think, with his movies.
Oh, sure.
Because this all looks like some Guillermo del Toro movie.
Well, like this actually harkens back to like the first Doom or the first Doom that I played. Like this just looks like a very teched out version of one of the characters that was running around. Like I guess it's a bull of some sort.
But yeah.
Devil
This reminds
bull.
me of Barlow's Inferno. If you've ever seen
Right.
Wayne Barlow's
Sure,
book,
sure.
kind of has that quality to it. Which they probably are looking at. Oh, I love this.
Yeah.
Love it. It's had this more comic book aesthetic.
Yeah. That's what's fun about these art books is you'll zero in on a particular artist. Like this is John Lane, so Jonlane. You know, I would follow this guy online and probably
I'm immediately drawn to everything about this. The finish, the black placement. It's minimal, but it has a sketchy quality to it, so it's got a lot of life. I love the flatness of the color.
Yeah, it's really good. These are great.
God, I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it.
It's awesome. He's really good. John Lane, you kick ass, dude.
I love that skull door or whatever that is. Yeah. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. This is hitting all the buttons on me.
There you go, Kelsey. So even a broken clock is right sometimes. This is cool.
This not much.
I think
it's too. I mean, it's cool. Like I love the if I'm step back from that rendering, the design of the place and the beast sitting in the middle, the idea of it's the lava, that's all really cool. I just hate that squishy, painty look.
They did that. Yeah, they did. They did my pet peeve, which is that they flipped this. It's not the whole scene.
Oh.
But you can see because the lighting on this guy's leg is on the right thigh, and then on this one it's on the left thigh.
They just flip flopped.
I'm not a big fan of the mirror image thing. I think it's lazy.
I mean, this looks like some early metal album cover, you know,
right.
Some of that
or something.
Yeah, it's cool. I don't know what it is that
these are more. Oh no, different artists. This is Alex. These are kind of fun.
Yeah, I like this stuff. Maybe it's just I'm drawn to that comic book style more, animation-y kind of. I love the looseness of this. This is something I'm kind of getting into more. This looks like my stuff.
Yeah, these are cool. Look at that. That's fun. This is fun. This is all good.
Good designs. Yeah, real creative. I mean, I'd hate to have to draw that over and over and over, but if it was like a background character in like one shot, you know, have fun, you know.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, and here's there really is kind of a Guillermo del Toro sort of vibe to this stuff, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, but you see that happen a lot where they'll like a whole community will just latch on to like a particular thing. Yeah, this is really cool. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I would buy if this was a comic book, I'd buy this in a hot second. Sure. I wouldn't want to draw it though, but I would love to be able to draw it. I mean, can you imagine like this? I
can see Jim Lee actually doing a pretty bang up job on this character. Right, this character on the right has a little bit of Jim Lee to it.
I know myself. I would take too long.
Yeah, could you imagine like this character in Spawn, Greg Capullo could like he'd go wild. Oh man. These are a little more cheap, but
well, it makes you wonder, did he start like loose painty and then keep building it up until he ended up in that final form at the top there? Or did he go the opposite direction?
I've seen where they'll drop in stuff like this. Like the drawing could be pretty loose, and then they start to kind of sort of not photo bash, but you know what I mean?
See that I'm noticing like a certain trend, like people like they like this kind of art, but they don't like it in comic book form. Like, I mean, I'm sure some people do, but it seems like people like ink. They like the hardness in comics. They like that hard edge.
I know. It's a weird thing.
Yeah.
It's just what we're used to, you know? You want that pen line.
Yeah, and I guess there are anomalies. You got your Alex Ross, but he's got a whole other thing that he brings to the table, which is seeing these comic characters in a very realistic, like as if they're walking the earth kind of thing.
Yeah.
This I don't like. Would I buy a comic like this? I guess I don't know if it was pretty sweet.
It never looks like a comic to me. I know exactly what you're talking about. It just
this
doesn't feel like a comic.
I would buy it if it looked like this.
Right.
Even if it was gray with the yellow, I'd actually buy a whole comic that had that grayscale with the one spot yellow.
Yeah, this is really cool. It's funny because someone mentioned Scott Robertson in the comment section, and some of these designs feel like maybe like someone that studied Scott Robertson, which is just good draftsmanship. But Scott's a badass. Have you seen the Scott Robertson material?
No, I'm not familiar with Scott Robertson, but I will be.
Is a concept artist, but he's also an educator. So he teaches a lot about vehicle design is kind of his forte, and core fundamentals. Really good teacher.
I love it. He's great. Good value. I love this is something that I'm doing now where before I color, like I'll do the inks and then I'll do the values like this. And then when you color, it's like all you got to do is hit those highlights and shadows, kind of add color to them. But it's like it takes away a lot of the thought, because when you're just doing the grayscale, that's what actually I did with your stuff as well. I started with the gray, and established the lighting, and it's just so much easier to go from there.
These
shields, at that arm. Look at the.
I know, it's really cool. These shields are fantastic. Each one is different. So this one's kind of like a robot door opening with like a skull. This one's like a creepy eye behind teeth. This one's like a crucifixion.
This is the kind of thing that like would have got me going as a kid with toys. Like
oh hell yeah, collect them all. Right? Look at that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what those cartoons were, like Demonoids or something like that.
Oh right.
Rock Lords. No, not that one.
These are kind of fun. It's
if that shield talks, that would be great. That shield should be like,
oh yeah. Like it's got like an intelligence, man.
I'm not so sure about the face on his crotch though. That's probably going a little too far.
Is it too far?
I don't know. Like
crotch face felt no good.
Would you open the mouth if you had to pee? You'd have to like go through the.
I'm not a fan of fleshy monsters.
Nah, they're kind of creepy.
Yeah, it doesn't gross me out. It's just like I don't know. Okay, so let's try another book now. I've got a few. We'll shut these real quick.
We'll go. Yeah, that's why I mentioned like the Capcom. Doom. If they had an art book of what's that? The orange box from Valve had what's that video game that was kind of cartoony, and then they also had. It was a huge hit. What the hell was that? Because of the art style, actually.
This will be interesting. So this is
Inhumanoids. Everybody's saying Inhumanoids. Yeah, that's what it was. That old cartoon.
This should be fun. This is a World of Warcraft game, but it'll be a little bit more fantasy, and it's a little kind of Joe Maddish.
Yeah, that kind of. There's been this evolution starting from this to that super popular game with the big gorilla guy and the fast girl, Overwatch.
Oh, okay.
And then it's still going. Like the games that are still coming out where they have this aesthetic that just keeps propagating. This kind of cartoony, painted. Where is it?
I'm waiting for the stuff to open.
Oh, geez.
Sorry.
It must be a lot.
It's loading. My computer might be kind of taxed from.
Did you see that World of Warcraft movie? Did you watch that?
Oh, it opened them all at once.
Yeah, I watched it.
Great.
It's so weird.
Great looking art, though. Honestly, it's.
Yeah.
Let me go full screen.
Yes. See, this is a little different to the what I think they ended up.
Yeah, this is Mists of Pandaria. So they do new updates like every year or two for the game. But this stuff is badass, man.
This is like the realistic Kung Fu Panda,
Right. Oh. This is cool.
Yeah, Half-Life. I love that game.
Oh, Half-Life? Yeah.
One of the best. I'm dying to get the goggles and do the Half-Life Alyx game, the virtual reality one. Oh man. Yeah, this is Yeah, see, that's that cartoony kind of like, look how
Yeah.
huge that bamboo is compared to like, what are they thinking there? That's like
Right.
giant bamboo. I don't know if I like that design.
Kelsey's got a critical eye. Oh, that's
Yeah, I'm a love it or hate it kind of. That's great.
yeah, it's really cool.
It looks like the ship's broken in half. Is that
Yeah,
what's
it
going
is.
on?
It is.
Okay.
Oh man, that's so neat looking.
Yeah, that's really great. That looks like Blaster Kid stuff, except for the pilot.
This is very like it looks like a lot of photos like mixed in, but it is actually kind of cool. But yeah, this is kind of the vibe that I'm going for sure.
Yeah, painting, parting the mists. Ugh.
Right.
I don't know. Is that a 3D rendering or?
Yeah, well, it's like it's kind of it's probably ZBrush and then some sort of material finisher and then probably some digital painting over it.
I kind of like this. It's got a very design.
Yeah,
aesthetic.
yeah, it's a little exaggerated. Like this is cool. I love the lighting. It's very
yeah.
like who was the artist you talking about? Craig Mullins.
Yeah, the glow in the ear, the
Yeah.
translucent quality of the skin. That's a hard thing to pull off.
Yeah. You have such a good eye for it.
It's hard to do. Usually it's an accident. Like if you color, you add the white highlight and then you grab the brush super soft and get like an orange color and put it on color dodge and just hit that highlight right there. It'll add that look, but whether or not it's super accurate, that's a whole other thing. I love this. This is great.
Yeah, these are kind of interesting. They're very organic little sketches. Like the structure is quite floaty, but you can tell the guy's got some solid skills. And then this is like a digital version, but
yeah, I don't like that one. I like all the pen and ink ones.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think this is traditional pen and ink, or does this look like digital tools to you? Can you tell?
It's digital, but it has a very natural quality to it, though.
Yeah, this is like
you can
calligraphy pen.
Yeah, you can kind of tell on the armor and stuff. The face is where it's like hard to tell because it actually looks like pen and ink.
Right.
But some of the stuff you can kind of see, like the telltale giveaway is the white and the black hair. See that white scribble?
Oh, right.
That's a telltale giveaway of digital inking.
Yeah. Everyone wants to. They either with comic artists, they all want to use the splatter brushes and the crosshatch tool, and then they draw a lot with white on top of the black.
If you want to give that same look, you just bring. I do it like a brush. I bring the black to the highlight and leave the white of the paper underneath. But every once in a while, I'll do a little bit of scribble, but I'll go back in it with the black because that look. It looks weird to me when you just do this white over the black.
So this is interesting. This is a technique that I watched Brian Benjamin do one time at Wildstorm. This is like photos liquefied onto a drawing. So like the eye is real eye, the eyebrows are real hair. This is real hair, and then they just kind of blend it in a little bit. It's a very, very weird technique, but this is real hair. It's like literally right out of a photo. It's kind of creepy, actually, like to see it up close.
If you're gonna give your modelers and stuff something accurate to kind of, it's very strange though. It's hitting that uncanny valley, I think, in a different way.
Yeah,
like these designs did not work for me at all because like those teeth. I don't know. I don't like trolls to begin with. I think they're boring.
Right.
I think they're so boring.
What about floating rock cities? Do you like floating?
I'm really tired of floating rock cities. Thank you, James Cameron.
Right.
The Hallelujah Mountains give me a break.
Right. These are floating. In defense of this game, these are not technically floating. Yeah, it's really, really cool.
Yeah, it's cool. I love the Chinese. Is it Chinese or Taiwan? It's got these super high cliffs like this.
Yeah. The making of Up, if you actually get the DVD or Blu-ray of Up,
I love that stuff.
They talk about going to, I think it's in Chile or something like that. But man, they went to some beautiful mountain ranges. Oh my God, it was incredible.
I like this stuff. I detest that blur.
Right, I'm not a blur guy.
No, it just looks so bad. But and again, I hate the design of that troll. But everything else to me is working on this. That one figure in the bottom panel is working for me. I guess everything else is crap.
Right.
Hey, that's what I'm really trying to say. Let me just be.
I got this together as fast as I could, Kelsey. This is not a practice pancake.
You know, this is such a pale. If you want to see this done right, pull out the Kung Fu Panda book.
Right.
And they did these scenes, which are his dream sequences in this hard cut paper, and it's exactly this but better. Right. This is too painty. I don't know what it is, but it's just.
Okay. Should we shake on this?
To me, it's the cereal box version of
you're saying that the
I can't stand the concept art in this. I think it's terrible.
I got you a T-shirt of this guy. Should I return it?
Let me make no bones about it. I mean, I'm not commenting on the quality of art. It's well done. I just think this is about as boring as it gets. I don't know.
Okay, let's move on then, Kelsey. We're gonna get out of this art.
I don't know. Am I alone in this? I mean, is this? This is why I never played World of Warcraft. I think it's about taking World of Warcraft. To me, was like taking all the things that everybody knows, you know, and lumping again into the most boring corporate stylist garbage. But everybody loves that. It's ruined so many lives. Fuck.
I never played Warcraft.
Yeah, I'm losing control. Yeah, you're upsetting me. You're upsetting Kelsey.
This is the thing that breaks Kelsey.
Look at how terrible all this is.
It's all right.
It all looks like it was painted with somebody's thumb. It's all bloopy and gross.
Don't worry.
What are you doing to me?
Kelsey, I've got better stuff. Don't worry. Give me 1 sec. I just have to shut all this stuff. PDFs are annoying because you have to shut each file. I'll look for the Kung Fu Panda book and see if I can pick it up.
I have it actually. I just don't know how to show it on the screen. I mean, look at this is about as bland as it gets. Am I wrong or am I like?
Let's look at the art of Star Wars: The Mandalorian. This will make you happy.
I don't know. I still have not watched this show. We'll see.
We'll take a little peeky peek at this.
I don't want to watch this show until it's over and everybody's like, "Yeah, that was good." You know the way, because I don't want to get invested in it. Everybody's like, "This is the best show ever," and then I'm like, "Okay," and then I get into it, and then they pull the rug out from under me like they did with so many shows.
Sopranos, Lost.
No, yes,
Lost or Sopranos.
Yeah, I like the way Sopranos ended. That was fine. Breaking Bad was fine. But like Game of Thrones,
right?
That show.
Yeah. Did you watch?
Never watch it again. Huh?
I didn't watch it, so I don't know.
Yeah, but this looks very Star Wars. I mean,
the first episode of Game of Thrones, though, I did see, and that was very cool with the snow and all the dead people. That was awesome.
I guess I get mad at this stuff too. Like, I mean, this all looks. I mean, it's better.
I don't like these characters, this stuff.
I don't need that. I watched the first episode, and when those things showed up, I turned it off.
Yeah, it was a little too. I like my Star Wars to be non-comical, but I mean, it can have a little humor between the characters, but I don't like whimsical design.
Yeah, I mean, Mando looks great because it looks like Star Wars. You know,
I mean, that's supposed to look a little like Samuel Jackson. That's very weird.
It does kind of look like. I have spoken.
I never noticed it really in the show because the color of the skin, but that looks like Samuel Jackson.
I wouldn't tell him that.
Well, I'm just saying there's a likeness. It's like not a. I don't mean in an offensive way.
No. This looks great though. I mean, it's fine. It's still that syrupy painting.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. Like I said, I
don't even know what I'm looking at here. It's just you know what I'm saying? Like it's hard to tell what I'm seeing. I can see
it works in the show, honestly. Like I there's parts of the Mandalorian that are excellent for sure. they've had some really, really good episodes. In fact,
real test, like when you look at Mcquarrie stuff, I would hang that shit on my wall.
Right.
This stuff, this shot right there, any of these shots there's nothing to it. There's nothing to this. It's merely a guide for the art director to do his work on the set. But as a piece, it tells me nothing. This tells me nothing. There's nothing going on in this shot at all.
Interesting.
Is there? That's guy walking and some kids playing.
Yeah. No, it's interesting.
I can't tell where he's at. Is that a district of shopping? Is that I don't know what I'm looking at.
It's over designed.
There's nothing there. There's no design. There's nothing. It's some shapes and shadows and light that have no storytelling. I do not know what this is about. I do not know what this character is about. It's some light cast on some objects.
So you're saying that the Mandalorian shirt that I got you, I should take that?
I don't. I'm just this. Okay, that's better. This is immediately better. This is a Ralph Mcquarrie. This is you got a guy standing in the doorway. You're wondering what he's there for. These guys, I can't tell what is that like a. I can't tell what the hell these guys are in the foreground though.
They look like
shapes. I mean, I need something more.
It's a mishmash of painting and sort of photo bashing going on. I mean, there's definitely. I mean, I just see all these little pieces of photos.
But the silhouette of Mando in the doorway is compelling.
Right.
It's evocative. But that's the only thing going on in this piece. But that alone makes me wonder who are those guys there. What is he there for? That it immediately makes me wonder about what's going on. Okay. But that's the difference in like concept art. Is a lot of that stuff we were looking at was just trying to give a feel, but like I'm looking for context.
So do you like Baby Yoda, or are you ambivalent towards Baby Yoda?
Well, I haven't watched the show. I'm sure he's cute and all that. I'm sure he's cute. I don't know.
Does this present a scene a little tiny bit better or still lacking?
It's well done. That silhouetted figure, it's kind of but I mean, I don't know. It's not
There's
really
a little bit of like dried fruit and sort of stuff for sale here.
But as a set design for like a shot that a character will be walking through on the way to someplace more interesting, it's fine.
What about this? Is this interesting? And
that's cool. I mean, I guess if it was an establishing shot right at the beginning and the mood is like the pre-dawn light before they're about to go to battle, so it's kind of but everything has the same quality of lightness. I'm noticing like it's all melancholy. Like
I need to go to the bathroom really quick. You keep explaining this. I'll be right back in 1 second.
Yeah, I mean, not that this is a show that you need like bright colors, because it's probably not the mood they're going for. I have seen some other Mando stuff where he's walking. It looks like what is it? What the heck's that show? Lawrence of Arabia, where he's on the desert plain and there's like that smoky, burnt umber kind of cloudy sky. I mean, that stuff is so good. And this alone, if this is like for the mood, there's this maybe apprehension about where they're going, or that kind of thing. I mean, that adds to that. All of this should be like adding to the storytelling. I mean, which I'm sure it does, because the people working on this, like Cowboy Dave Filoni, I trust that guy because I watched his show. I thought he's the one that really brought the Clone Wars cartoon show into its realized thing, and I think he's a real story nut. And I think he is also he's working with Filoni and Favreau, and I think those are really smart guys. And I think I'm gonna be pleased. There's a reason why you guys all like this, is what I'm saying. So where I'm being critical over this kind of stuff, It's more for just its individual piece, not for what it's adding to, which is the show, which I'm sure will be great. But like, there's some stuff that already annoys me about the show, but I'm not going to get into it until after I see it.
So let me ask you this, because this was what I found was I felt that the after the first 3 movies, Star Wars started to get maybe over designed. Like I felt like it was a little too kind of kitchen or whatever you call it, like everything in the kitchen sink kind of stuff.
Well, you got toys to now. It's a popular show, so now you got to make toys, right?
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, it's an adult show, so why would you make toys for it? Is there ratings on these shows?
I think that Mandalorian is like PG-13 ish.
Yeah,
mature. But
I'm sure I would be all over this stuff as like a 13-year-old.
These are pretty cool. I'm
a jaded old man now, and nothing moves me.
I kind of like some of these are sort of cool. They're nice drawings.
Yeah, these are great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you're kind of limited because you're having to keep it in the what are those guys called? The armor is
Mandalorian.
Oh, I guess they're Mandalorian. Yeah. The Mandalorian style.
I love Stormtroopers. Oh my god,
these guys are great. There's a lot going on with these.
As a kid, I think the Stormtrooper, I don't know why, and the Tusken Raiders or Sand People, I just love those 2 designs.
I know several guys that are part of like the 501st and things like that. One in particular, but I would love to see some of those guys deck out their costume like some of these guys.
Yeah, it's really cool.
But I think a lot of those guys are kind of Star Wars purists, so I'm not sure that they like messing around with it. So I don't know.
Well, this is partially canon, I guess you would say now, because it's in the Mandalorian art of book. So these guys above are called Decommissioned Stormtroopers.
Oh, okay. So they're kind of like on their own. They're decking their outfit out like almost like the Mandalorian through decades of adventure. You know.
I like this guy removed his arm piece. That's kind of
why would you do that? I don't know. You're going to get shot in the arm. They should show that guy without his arm later on.
these red ones are great too.
Yeah, this is cool. Somebody mentioned I'm not liking this art so much. Yeah, but the design I think is pretty neat. I think we're just looking for costume guys here. Is that the fucking science guy? Pardon my French. Is he in that show? That looks like.
No, this isn't Neil Tice deGrasse.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, if Werner Herzog and Neil deGrasse Tyson are in that show, I'm out.
No, this is the guy from Rocky. I don't know. I don't know. I'm really bad with actors' names. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's Apollo Creed. Yeah.
Right. What's the actor's name?
Forget. He was in Predator. He's awesome in Predator.
Right. Is his name Lewis?
No, it's not Louis Gossett Jr.
No. I meant. I know who that is.
That's Louis Gossett Jr. right there from Enemy Mine. If you go down, that lizard guy. You ever seen Enemy Mine?
No.
Louis Gossett Jr. plays like this creature who has a baby. He makes a baby.
It's funny because almost all of this is drawn, but the 2 things that aren't is this little tower right here and the top of this dome.
Oh, that's weird. I wonder why.
It's really funny. It's like everything is like kind of hand drawn, and then this is a photo, and this is a photo.
It's kind of cool. It's a mood piece. I mean, it's kind of showing what they're going for in that scene, but you know, the light on the window does. Oh, okay, that's different. Oh no! Oh, I thought that was the same piece pulled out.
It is. I think it was a spread.
Oh, okay.
I think it was a spread. It just didn't open. I like this. This is kind of cool.
This is cool. Like, yeah. Is this a scene? Is this an actual scene of the show? Do you watch the show?
I don't recall it from the show, to be honest. But I'm a bad watcher of shows. I have like attention deficit.
I'm dying to see it for the technique because I really love they're doing this new technique of blue screen where they actually they project the 3D space and then they film the people. Right. It's like a holodeck almost. It's amazing.
Right, I heard about that.
Yeah.
There's a comedian that was in Mandalorian, Brian, whatever his name is.
I don't know.
He's like kind of a big. He's sort of a big, goofy guy. I think he's part of the Metalopolis crew or something.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, see, this is. I mean, all of this stuff is really fun. It's all utilitarian to me. Like that's kind of neat, but it's the same silhouette, a guy in a doorway. It's like, how often can you do that?
Right.
John Ford did that back in the 30s, with John Wayne.
Sure.
So, this stuff is all very utilitarian. I mean, like, it's neat, it's well done, but like, I think if you're going to be a concept designer, you should take a cue from guys like Ralph McQuarrie, because those images were compelling on their own. And like, I don't even need to see the movie to enjoy what Ralph McQuarrie did for the original movies, or
you like John Berkey's work?
Yeah, I love John Berkey's stuff.
Yeah.
But that's none of that stuff's very storytelling driven.
Sure.
It's almost like abstract sci-fi. I don't know what it is about. We should maybe look at Berkey sometime, because I'm not sure what it is that draws me to Berkey. Maybe it's because I used to look at Popular Mechanics when I was a kid, and it was filled with John Berkey's stuff.
He was really good. It was like I could never figure out like all the swatches of detail that he would put. Like everything was like little.
Yeah, just it was impressionistic. Technology.
This is kind of interesting, seeing this beat up land speeder.
Yeah, it's kind of like, oh yeah, land speeders. Let's add two things to it,
Oh right.
And there's that guy that guy right there.
Yep.
That's the snow version of the guy that ratted on 3CPO and them in the first movie. It's such fan service. I gotta
get it out, Kelsey.
I'm trying not to be so negative, but like all this Star Wars stuff, I'd rather this be something new, and something. I want a new Star Wars. I want that new thing to come out that blows all our minds. This to me is just fan service. It's fan service.
So you don't want the shirt that I got of this guy?
No.
I'm gonna have to re-gift all of these shirts.
Yeah. No, I'm not angry. I'm just frustrated with popular art right now. It celebrates the stuff that we did in the past. And I'm like, I'm ready for something new, for crying out loud. I can only take so much, like Avatar. I'm already sick of Avatar, and there's 5 more sequels coming.
5 more?
Yeah, something like that. And they're not coming out until 2026 or something crazy.
Oh, is he filming like 5 movies at once or something?
Yeah, it's insane. And I'm like, I'm already tired of it, and it's like the Star Wars is cool. Like I kind of like, I do like living in that world. It's fun. I'm glad it's going on. But I wish they would take more chances on, and right now they can't take any chances. So I understand it.
I do actually feel like some of these designs are a little bit stale, to be honest. I mean, it's still cool, but yeah, I mean, it's like they were doing this 40 years ago. A lot of this, I mean, it's a little bit upgraded, but I mean, how, they've got a brand to.
Yeah, no, it's great for what it to me. Like it's a double-edged sword, because on one end it's fulfilling the promise of Star Wars. I'll be with you in a second.
Yeah, we can start to wrap it up. It's fine.
Yeah, hang on a second.
Yeah, no worries. Well, I have to say that we got Kelsey. We inspired him. His passion came through. I like The Mandalorian. There's a few episodes that I thought were actually really, really good. I think between I guess it's 2 seasons are out now. I think you could really put together like a kick-ass, like 8 to 10 hour movie, and then trim out a little bit of the stuff. But it's good, man. I think. I don't know about the design of it all, but it's been fun. A fun show. I will check the chat. That's a great perspective, Rich. Clean, sculptural design, style of minimalism, my cup of tea, retro all the way. Kelsey getting blood. Is he getting blood pressure medicine? Nah. It was funny. I was talking to a friend that I grew up with, so I've known him since we were probably like 14 or 15. And he was waiting for something to be delivered by FedEx, and I started talking about the FedEx where they lost the John Romita Jr. cover, and I was like getting pissed, and I was like, oh, I hate FedEx. I think they're garbage. And it was kind of the same thing. He's like, damn. He's like, take a deep breath. It's okay. Valerian movies. I haven't seen the Valerian. I don't know what that is. Valerian. It sounds familiar, but I don't know. Let's see. We'll try to surprise Kelsey with something that maybe he likes before we go. He may have to go though, like right away. Let's see what I got. Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah, he ain't gonna like any of this. I think we're probably good. Let me get out of screen share. Mm-hmm. All right. Oh, look, he actually shut his camera off. But yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in.
All right, I'm back.
Yeah, no worries. It was getting towards the front of the book, and it was just all kind of set up.
This is why it's hard. It's hard for me to do these shows because I'm like, I got so much going on. Like I gotta right now, I gotta go feed the cat. I gotta run to the store. Then I gotta get to work. It's like, you know what it's like. You got a whole family going on, so
okay. Yeah,
it's like trying to find 2 hours for these shows is like really difficult.
No problem. Honestly, I originally only wanted to do an hour and 15 minutes, so we can try to keep them shorter if that works better for you. It's not a problem at all, believe me.
Like I'm good for an easy hour. Like I can do those. On my head.
I never went into this thinking that they should be 2 hours. It just sort of happened. But one thing that we could do though is, because we had talked about some of the comic ideas that we had, is we could make this show a little shorter and then try to do a comic show maybe every few weeks, not weekly, but you know, every 3 weeks we look at a comic book together, like
something more comic centric. Yeah, like
something classic.
So I can bitch about some comic book people.
Trust me, I'm so picky, you know, but I generally just try to focus on what I like. But I threw that at you. So
yeah, that was I kind of I don't know why I get so like
you weren't. I don't know. Honestly, like it might feel that way to you, but you weren't so like over.
I was trying not to be mean, but it's just it bores me. It bores me. There's too much. There's too many people that want to do it, and too many things being produced for not enough people buying. So you just end up with a lot of people making bland art. You know, don't bore me, for God's sake. Do whatever you do. Don't bore me.
I'll create the Richard Friend director's cut of Mandalorian for you, and I'll make sure that you have a very good, like 6-hour Star Wars movie.
You can be you're guaranteed with any of my books that I'm not going to bore you, or I'm going to try not to. At least with my own stuff. If I'm working with a writer, that's their problem. They're boring you, not me.
Look, I'm brutally honest with my own work. I'm brutally honest. It's a good trait to have, you know. I mean, I don't go looking to talk shit about stuff, but you know, if someone asks me about something and I don't care for it, I mean, you know, you want to be honest and just say, well, this isn't really my thing, you know.
Hey, the older I get, the less about people's feelings I care about. I can see why like Alex Toth would write these like scathing letters, because he's just being honest, but it hurts, you know. But it's like as for me personally, like I want people to be that direct with me, and that's why there's a certain people I like working with, because they'll just come out and say, "Nah, I don't. This is not working."
I've got 2 books on PDF that are Alex Toth books. Speaking of Toth, one is the genius of his cartooning, and the other is, I think, the genius of his character design. They're 2 different books. Yeah. But we could take a look at those. I'm not.
Oh, that would be fun.
Alex Toth's work, honestly, I know it, but I'm not any kind of. You know.
I went through my phase. I still like it. It doesn't do anything. Like I've gathered what I needed to, and but now I just look at it and enjoy it. But I know people that become obsessed with it, and like they just that's the way they draw is you know, like Alex Toth, you know. But
the religion of Toth.
Yeah, I got a problem with that too, where people like latch on to like styles and then they can't move on. It's like, but I don't know if you're good at it, whatever. I mean,
no, totally. I mean, look, this is because it's a very common first question for any artist is who are your influences, and I think it's a loaded question to begin with because it's assuming that at that moment you have some sort of direct influence that's like propelling like your art, and a lot of times,
many.
Right. Well, I mean, it's like, dude, I if I want to online, if I just go on Instagram and scroll for 5 minutes, I'm gonna see all kinds of stuff. And then something might stay with me, something might not. I may remember the artist's name, I may not. It's so random.
See, like somebody mentioned Sid Mead, and like Sid Mead goes into that Berkey camp for me, where it's like, okay, there's not a lot of storytelling stuff. For whatever, and it's very abstract, but for whatever reason, there's something extra those guys are doing that makes it compelling. Probably in the design, the color. There's some magic they're weaving that draws your eye that others don't,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
And the thing is, and you can probably appreciate this, and then we'll go, is like my point of view on Sid Mead when I was first at Wildstorm versus what it might look to me now could be quite different. You know what I mean? Like, so it's always interesting to go back at those artists, because you're in a different place, you're in a different point of interest, and also time on.
This is why I typically hold back a lot of my my perspectives on stuff like that, because I'll get into these angry rants, and then like months later I'll look at it and go, oh yeah, I kind of like, oh, now I'm seeing something whole different now.
Dude, I've done that on videos where I like record a video and then I watch it back and I'm like, oh, the piece that I was like not really that big of a fan of. So everything is subject to
Yeah, I mean that's like that. I'm probably because I need some breakfast and I need another cup of coffee. You get me like riled up. Okay, show me a bunch of bloopy art.
Paul Bonner is great too. His stuff is so detailed. Oh my god.
I'm not sure.
Paul Bonner is kind of a fantasy artist, if I'm not mistaken.
Bob Oxner.
I think Bob Oxner is an animation guy.
Ron Cobb, you mentioned Ron Cobb. I love all that. I used to dwell on that. I used to love looking at the making of books for guys like Ron Cobb's with those, concept illustration. I mean, I was really into that for a long time. So, I'm not hating on that.
Yeah. Again, don't buy Kelsey the World of Warcraft box set.
Don't say that. They'll do it as a joke. I'll have 5 of them by next week.
I hope you have 500. I want to see boxes of World of Warcraft behind you, like the old boxes that they used to come in.
Well, when I do my book and people order the book, I'm going to stick those in there as an extra.
Right.
We'll send them all back.
Okay, Angel and Ape 60s is Bob Oxner.
Well, I love that stuff. Yeah,
I'll definitely check it out. So, okay,
Angel
Ape and Kelsey are going to go and get to work. So we'll talk to you guys. Bye, everyone. See you later. Thank you.
Later, gang.